So instead of worrying about the temperature, I started hearing what could be possibly alligators under me. I swam so much harder than you could possibly imagine and finished 10 minutes earlier than my estimated time just because I did not want to get eaten.
What's up, everybody? I am joined by Matty Cranmer. We caught up with Matty a couple months back and talked about how he was training for an Ironman Triathlon. Fast forward a few months and Matty officially got it done, so it only made sense to catch up and see how it all went. Matty, was this the hardest thing you've done in your entire life?
I'd have to go out there and say it was the hardest thing I've ever done. The most accomplishing feeling in the world. I'm not kidding. That was probably one of the best days of my life.
So when we talked to you last time, you were on a pretty strict training regiment. Did everything add up? Were you totally prepared when you actually got out there to bring it to life?
It worked out. I cannot complain one bit. Everything that I trained for and the things that I kind of imprinted in my mind and learned myself through Google, YouTube, whatever it was, absolutely everything paid off exactly as it should have went. And I went into the Ironman. I'm not going to lie. Everything leading up to it, I felt awesome. The morning of, I definitely knew that this was going to be the toughest day. And I kind of second guessed it when I stepped in the water. It was freezing. But all in all, by the time I came across the finish line, I knew I did everything I possibly can, and it worked out.
So was the time once you finished the entire thing a respectable time for somebody that actually does Ironmans, or was it kind of just a Matty's first Ironman time?
The time that I ended up with was like a mediocre Ironman. So it was like better than a lot of people's first Ironman attempts, but I'm not going to say that I'd be hanging with the top people. But to be fair, I think if I did try it again, I can smoke that time that I ended with. Through all the training, like I trained for completion. And by the time I finished it, I was not at the point that I thought I was going to be. I thought I was going to be mentally destroyed and my body was going to be like falling apart. I thought I would be dragging myself across the line. And to see my time when I ended, I was like, you know what? I could easily take an hour off of that. Like I'm fully convinced I could take an hour off of that time. So it was a good amount of time, but I do think I can be almost competitive.
Last time we talked to you when you were getting ready for this, you said you thought the swimming was going to be the hardest part. I think because you hadn't really swam much in your life. Did swimming end up being the hardest part?
I think swimming was, I'm not going to say it was the hardest. I don't want to say that. There was a lot of things going through my mind. Let me break this down for you real quick. When I got in that water, I have a wetsuit that doesn't have any arms on it or anything. I thought that was the right one to go with. I stepped in Florida water and I'm picturing that this is going to be like really, really warm. By the time I got to about my waist, I started really second guessing everything that I was doing. Once the water hit my chest, I took my first 3 strides. Everyone's cheering for me in the background. Yeah, man, he's going. This is great, blah, blah. And I'm like, I could not breathe anymore. Like I was like, you are in this water. I couldn't even tell you the temperature, maybe like 70 degrees tops. And I'm starting to lose my breath. And I'm like, you have to go sit in here for another hour and a half, guaranteed another hour and a half. So I started going. And by the time I ended up like numbing out and I started hearing these hissing noises that were under me. So instead of worrying about the temperature, I started hearing what could be possibly alligators under me. I'm not even kidding. Like I was swimming and to the point where like some were like pretty far and I was like, all right, that's fine. That's fine. And then I'd hear some that are almost like next to my feet. So all I thought is I don't care how hard the swim is. I want out of this water. I swam so much harder than you could possibly imagine and finished 10 minutes earlier than my estimated time just because I did not want to get eaten.
Now, was this a lake that actually has alligators in it, or was this just your mind playing tricks on you?
This was Florida. So to be fair, and if you live in Florida, you know every lake basically has alligators in it. I'm not going to say it's a super popular spot for them. There's a lot of houses around the edge where there's not like much room to hang out for alligators, but there's everything from like seals or something, or like otters in there. There's all types of weird creatures. I have heard that there like has been seen an alligator, but it's not very common. The center of it gets down to like 40 feet or something like that. So for like lakes like that, alligators aren't as interested in. I looked this all up. They also wouldn't bite me because I'm bigger than them. They like to eat things that are only like one bite. So I did look this all up and I felt pretty confident, but I swear those hissing noises, they were all over the place. So whatever it was, I don't want to know what it is. I'm happy that I'm out and I don't need to know.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get eaten. That would have been an interesting ending to this story.
It would have went way better though. Imagine I did get bit or something.
Be a
First
good way to go
Ironman
out.
fights off alligator.
So you kind of embarked on this journey, I believe, in January, and then the world essentially shut down. Now, I think this could have been a good thing for your training because you really had nothing else to focus on. You were just kind of grinding hard at this. Do you think you could have accomplished this if this was a normal year when you're traveling, you're riding the Vans BMX Pro Cup, you're going on BMX trips? Could you have still gotten this done?
So I've thought about this a lot between like if this was the best year for it or not. And as sad as this year has been and how like, I'm sure it was upsetting for a lot of people. And there was just so much to think about and so much confusion and everything. But for me, it didn't change too much in my average year. Besides just BMX contests, I still went to work, whatever, 4 or 5 days a week. I hang out with my girlfriend. I eat this. I make food. I go on my computer, edit videos, whatever it was. So I don't think it changed my aspect of like what I would picture as like a normal year too much. I will say that I think between BMX riding, I feel like you injure yourself a lot, even if it's minor injuries. I think that could have played a big part and set me back on training a lot for the whole Ironman thing. But besides that, I don't think it's really changed too much. So I am looking forward to kind of continuing this and maybe doing more triathlons in the future. And hopefully when things get back to normal to see how I can work it both out and play both sides at the same time.
I feel like 2019 was possibly the best year in your BMX career. I feel like you were finally kind of falling into your stride, constantly making finals at Vans BMX Pro Cup events, riding for Tall Order, doing content with them, and just being really active and progressing on your bike. Do you feel like you lost any steam this year by kind of having that all taken away and kind of changing your focus, or do you feel like you're ready to move forward?
I do think 2019 was like a highlight year for me. But I think coming off on like such a good note, I do feel like I allowed myself to be okay with getting off of like the competitive mode for a little bit. I felt like I could kind of reshape and relax my riding a little bit and be able to focus on doing this Ironman and just accomplish something that I've been looking forward to accomplish. And that's not saying that I got off the bike. Like I rode just as much as I normally would. Granted, New Jersey still does not have many skate parks. We don't have much indoor stuff. My normal go-to is like Woodward Camp and whatever it is, Ray's or the Wheel Mill. I didn't get to hit any of them like I normally would. That's where I felt like I would get the most progression. I didn't get to do those things, which stinks. So I can't say that I feel like I'm like ready to jump right back into contest mode and go hit big ramps again. I've been riding little ramps for the last year, but I think because I spent more time off the bike that when I do get on the bike, and I always say this, it's funny, I forget how good I am. And that's not being cocky, but I truly feel that when I get on the bike, like I don't know what to expect out of myself. So I can actually make up tricks that I may or may not have ever done before. And I can somehow like, even if I fall a couple times, that could be a trick that I've never done in my life. And for some reason I'll be like, yeah, I got it. Like I got it. It'll be right here. So I learned it must've been like 20 new tricks for me this last year, just because I've kind of made them up in my head and like convinced myself that, yeah, you used to do this. Like this used to be your stuff, so it kind of worked out in a good way because I do feel like very refreshed every time I get on my bike.
You kind of touched on this earlier. There may be more Ironmans and triathlons in your future. In the past, you had mentioned to me about some other crazy ideas you had about long distance bike rides and whatnot. What is next for you? Not necessarily on the BMX bike, but what's next in this new path you're taking in your life?
When I came up with the whole Ironman triathlon thing, like I'm not going to say this is something like I've dreamed about in the past. It's just kind of one of those big athletic things that I was like, wow, I bet I can accomplish that. I see other people do it and I know I could work towards it. So I have a pretty big list of things at this point of like all like really cool, tough to do things. So my next big accomplishment, and when I say these are not to impress anybody around me. This is just things that I'm like, this would be cool to kind of put on my resume of life. I want to ride to Florida. So we talked about that last time. I want to just ride a bike from New Jersey to Florida. I want to camp along the way. I don't really want to use hotels or anything. I'm not going to shower. might brush my teeth if you get lucky. And I just want to ride all the way to Florida. So that's like the big goal for 2021. I have a bunch of minor goals under that where I want to complete more physical tasks like Spartan races, Tough Mudders. I also want to run an ultra marathon. So an ultra marathon is anything past a marathon, so 26.2 miles. So I'm going to be running an ultra marathon in January. That's 31 miles. I promised a good friend of mine that I would do it. And this is not for anything. We didn't sign up for anything. I'm just going to do it. And then hopefully by the summer, I'll be running a 50-mile race. And that one I actually want to sign up for if I can find anything in the local area.
That's a lot of running.
It is a lot of running, but I enjoy it. And it's weird because I hate running and I found enjoyment in it. Like running for me has just turned into like this cool time. And I'm not going to say little time because like the runs kind of get ridiculous time now, but it's just time where you could put in your headphones. And I'm a huge, music person and singer. So I'm sitting there singing to myself and, I go through every song and I kind of get to create all this like situations in my head that I don't know, maybe if I was doing this in my life, or maybe if I was doing this in my life, or like I kind of make up all these things in my head as I run. And I found like a lot of interest in it, and it's brought a lot of really cool ideas upon me. We talked last time, like I was starting a new company. So it's called Now, and it's so far it's a clothing company. But that's been going really, really well. It's been awesome. So running has also allowed me to kind of like do really cool things with that and kind of brought in my ideas for that, where like going to work every day, riding my bike every day doesn't give me like the normal time, or like I get to expand what I think a lot more. I guess that's the best way to say it.
You seem to be in a really good headspace. I think this has made you obviously better physically, but I think also mentally. Do you see this reflecting on to your BMX career when you actually get back to competition?
100%. I could say that like the whole like Ironman thing, like the whole physical side of the side of things I'm doing, is just allowed me to like, I guess, believe in myself a lot more. So like riding my bike all the time for years on years and years, and you can ask anybody who rides a bike for years and years and years, if that's all you do and that's all I think it's hard to step out of your comfort zone. And like, you feel comfortable doing these tricks, you feel comfortable in your little bubble. But I think as soon as I stepped out of that and I told myself something I want to accomplish, something like so difficult, and I did it, all this, it was like basically 10 months of hardcore training led up to one day, and it was accomplished. It's done. And now I'm like, oh my God, I can do anything, literally whatever I want. So I get on my bike now and I'm like, if I want to learn something, I can do it. If I want to go ride in this, I am guaranteed that I could do it. That's my forte. So if I could accomplish something that I'm not used to at all, like an Ironman triathlon, I can accomplish anything. So I am excited to get really going on my bike again and just start like setting my goals. I have BMX goals set for 2021 already. Like I'm already ready to go. Not even contest stuff, just tricks that I want to accomplish or photos that I want to get, believe it or not.
Well, Matt, congratulations on getting this done. That is one hell of an accomplishment. Is there anything else you want to add before I let you get back to whatever you're doing in beautiful New Jersey?
Oh, it's beautiful, Kyle. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for catching up with me on this whole thing. I mean, this is pretty crazy to get on Vital for talking about an Ironman triathlon. I promise I'm the first one to ever do that. But definitely, I just want to say thanks to everybody who has supported me, whether it's through social media, YouTube, whatever it is. Like, without you guys, I'm not kidding, this would not have happened. Big thanks to my family. Everyone says that I have the best family ever, and they're not lying. I really do have the best family ever. And I'm just the luckiest person in the world. Kyle, I hope we can go do something soon that doesn't involve like wearing masks and hopefully packed restaurants and no alcohol, big steaks. I think I would do it.
I might have to push back on the no alcohol part, but let's do it. Hopefully we're trending in that direction. Matty, thanks for the time. Congratulations on getting this done.
Thank you, Kyle.